Bones for exploration works. I mean, we could look into it. I mean, Skull and Bones. 9 minutes? Okay. I think we should watch that because Skull and Bones is a game that's been there for like I don't know how many years in development, in the cycle of never-ending game development. So yeah, let's look at it. Let's look at it.
With the waves beneath you and the wind in your sails, the Indian Ocean is yours to fully explore in Skull and Bones. But as we recently learned, most of Ubisoft's upcoming pirate simulator takes place at sea.
Yeah,
so
no
what
shit.
is out there to discover
That's
aside
just
from
pirates
water,
are.
water and well, more water? We spoke to developers at Ubisoft Singapore to find out.
The gameplay on land is about socializing, crafting, building up your fleet, and taking contracts in the game, in either a den or the outposts.
Despite the majority of Skull and Bones map
I mean,
being
where
made
else
up
you
of
would've
ocean,
taken it?
you can step off your ship and walk on dry land. Not every island you see is explorable, but you can weigh anchor at dens and outposts.
What?
Two special location types that have everything that a pirate needs to prepare for further adventures.
The particularity of the land also is that it offers you a safe zone where nobody can attack you. The role of the pirate is to do some back and forth between the safe land where you can build your ship and customize your ship, but also trade some resources before to go on the hostile ocean to steal precious cargo that then you bring back. So from land, aside building and then crafting and trading, also you can take some contracts
like a pirate,
to make
sounds
some
pretty
money from
simple.
some other pirate kingpins.
I
As
think
your
this is some
family
gameplay.
begins to spread across the Indian Ocean, you'll gain an access to your own pirate lair, from where you can kickstart your ascent to a pirate kingpin by manufacturing and smuggling illegal and high-value goods.
Skull and Bones' world has been designed as a living space that changes as frequently as the tides. Some characters won't stay in
So
one
you have
place
islands that you
forever,
can't,
so you'll need to explore the
go
map to find the right people with the right opportunities.
Spread all over the world, you will find some outposts where you can also meet other smugglers or some local rebels fighting against the mega corporations. We call them ephemeral zones because the NPC you will meet in this outpost won't always be the same because they are also traveling, they are moving from a place to another one. When you connect to Skull and Bones, the first thing to do is look at your map and to see where the trade routes are, where the merchants are, before to select the right ship, provision it and equip it and set sails to the direction that is more interesting for you.
Sailing,
It's
trading
still,
and
you know,
smuggling are all important aspects of a
that's a
buccaneer
lot of,
career. But what about treasure
mean,
hunting? Perhaps the most
Black
famous
flag
of
on
all
it,
the
right?
pirate
It's probably,
pastimes.
you know,
There are a
built
lot of
upon it.
treasures hidden
but
in all the
quote-unquote
outposts,
built
so
upon, right?
you need to board some ships and to steal pieces of treasure, or you can also scavenge some wrecks to find other pieces of map. According to some drawing and some landmarks, once you find the right island, you can also use a land compass that will help you to find the location of the treasure.
I mean, that's pretty cool. But Steamies is
While
some
there are
gameplay.
plenty of important things to find
Some
and do
gameplay,
on land,
please.
the core gameplay of Skull and Bones takes place at sea.
No
With
shit.
that in mind, Ubisoft Singapore has put a huge amount of work into making the ocean an interesting and challenging place to explore.
So our water, it's essentially a deforming mesh, and that deforming mesh informs the physics. So the boat is actually interacting with the waves. It's not just sailing straight and we add some splashes or like an animated texture. We have other physics properties that each ship will read from. So there's buoyancy and there's drag. So this affects how far into the water the boat will go, how slow they will go through it. So each ship should feel different based on the size and how heavy it is.
Since sailing is
Okay.
such a focus,
Okay.
the naval mechanics have had to evolve beyond what we saw in Assassin's Creed.
Black
Things
flag.
like the weight of your items in the hold and the direction of the wind all need to be taken into account.
Of course, wind
Sounds
should
about
be
right.
important to sailing and navigation, but the wind direction
It's a
actually
pirate game.
affects
It'd be kind of weird
the
if
speed
it
of the
wasn't.
ship. A good player will navigate better with the wind at their back and tack better and therefore be a better navigator. So it's just another element of the world that the player needs to be aware of.
But while the systems are more detailed now, Skull and Bones is definitely not a hardcore sailing simulator.
You don't need to be a sailor to play Skull and Bones and be able to understand what to do, but as you learn how to use the wind better and what that means and what does your weight mean in your cargo and the type of ship that you have, you'll see that there is advantages to being a better captain and a better navigator.
The waves of the Indian Ocean can frequently be calm and beautiful, but Skull and Bones has a full weather system that could totally transform its waters.
Well, we want to make sure that there is different types of weather. So you can have some light rain, you can have incredibly crazy supercell storm, and they will feel dynamic. We want the player to be surprised by that and feel the threats as you normally would at sailing out in the open seas.
Please don't make it, predictable.
A storm can be as dangerous as a 100-gunner galleon, so one of Skull and Bones' biggest challenges will be learning how to sail when the water is determined to break your hull.
When you enter the storm, obviously the waves get a lot bigger. That means that the certain size of ship you have could affect you. You could
I hope
flood,
it's not
you could take
as
damage. Visibility.
hope it's
will
as
change,
good as it
be a lot
shows in the
darker, so you won't be able to see threats.
cinematic.
So yeah, it forces the player to make sure he's equipped properly for the journey with the right ship. Maybe they have enough food and weapons in case they engage someone.
Most open worlds create variety through different biomes and environments, but the ocean setting means Skull and Bones can't really do that. Instead, the developers have paid close attention to the different water states and the iconography of the golden age of piracy to ensure that each area of the map feels new and interesting.
Wind affects the water, the terrain affects the water, so if I'm in a coastal sea near the shoreline, the waters will be appropriately different. I can go inland, and then we're using the river technology, which we have two different water technologies. So more than ever, the world needs to feed the water and then feed the player to help him decide how to act. Not only that, we have the biodiversity of the Indian Ocean, so when I go to Africa, the water will look and feel different than when I go to the East Indies. You wanted to really show the diversity and the realism of water.
As you travel through different territory for the factions, you'll see the colors changing, the flags, the iconography change around you. So you'll be aware of, ooh, I'm in Farah territory, or I'm in the French territory. The color schemes and all of that will change, breaking that up with dynamic events or things that can kind of go, ooh, what is that? And get the player to investigate are really important, because you don't want to just sail, for forever as you're moving, because it's a big game. So that's basically what we try to do, is break up the passage with different things you can engage with, helping a merchant out, repairing a ship.
You can be distracted by also broken pieces of map you will find in a bottle, and that will lead you towards some treasure hidden on the remote islands. You can find also a ship that is looking for some help. You can decide to escort that ship first before to go back to the prey you had started to shadow. Something we implemented also in the game is that sometimes, depending on the value or the properties of the cargo you are transporting, you can attract also specific enemies such as pirate rogues, the rivals who will try to eat a piece of your pie.
Skull and Bones' massive open world is beautiful, and you'll want to explore just for the sake of seeing its many sights. But exploration is also vital to staying alive, thanks to the survival mechanics that fit into the core gameplay loop. You need to constantly be searching for new resources and gathering raw materials to build better ships, feed your crew, and advance your infamy.
In the world of Skull and Bones, you will evolve from the status of castaway, stranded on a desert island, to the role of middleman, working for other pirates, and then to the status of kingpin. So to rise from the hero to hero, but you will first have to collect the resources that will allow you to build your ship and craft your weapon, and that will allow you also to upkeep the morale of your crew, because we have a system of mutiny. So in the game, you can use a small ship and a harpoon to fish some sharks and even some crocodiles. But you can use also a large set of tools to chop some trees or to collect some irons. You can also scavenge some wrecks and steal some pieces of ship. And of course, you can plunder the rich merchant company and all their forts to collect big amount of resources. The value of the resources is based on the high risk, high reward.
So I'm wondering if you can get off the ship and start fighting.
If the term survival mechanics fills you with dread and memories of depleting thirst meters, don't worry, Skull and Bones isn't that kind of survival game.
As a captain, you don't have a status, you don't need to drink or to consume some food yourself. If you don't feed or don't provide your crew with water, after a while they might turn against you, kick you out of your own ship and maroon you on some island. But if you feed them properly, and if you cook also some food providing additional temporary buff, you can also increase the speed of your ship and the damages you will deal because they have more energy.
I would
Its
sound
massive
right.
map may be mostly water, but
sounds
it looks
simple,
like there's still
but if
plenty
it's done
to
wrong,
explore in the world of Skull and Bones.
like, I guess
For
more
more on
tedious,
Ubisoft's
it
Pirate
might
Sim,
be-
why not check out the 7
might be
things
more,
you need to know about Skull and Bones? Or
more
check
tedious,
out the latest
right? Might be more tedious than it actually needs to be. So yeah, it would be pretty funny. You know what would happen? Say, your captain got kicked off the ship. Now they have your ship. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna fight with a small boat? That could be interesting and fun.